Welcome. This week on Convincing Idiots, we are discussing some of our idiot reviews, as well as discussing the passing of Coolio. Our idiot inquiry of the week, which is, are we infatuated with serial killers? As well as our main topic this evening, it is spooky season. We are talking about some famous vampires in pop culture, so be sure to stick around and listen. So, without further ado, let's start the show.
All right, test.
Test.
Call it again.
Convincing Idiots.
Convincing Idiots.
Called it ham gravy.
I informed them that I sided with the stat man, not just anyone's opinion, the stat man Brian Fisher.
These kids today.
Jingle All the Way is in fact the best Christmas movie of all time.
I need to get Grandma a present, and my herpes is flaring up. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yo. I'm the millennial
We're
Santa.
three friends representing three different generations. That's our whole shtick. That's our thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nick got to hold poop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm standing in the sea
Caucasian.
breeze, holding a turd, just mightily. I'm just going hitting hats.
Anyway, on a lighter note,
And welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the vodcast. Welcome to the broadcast. Boys and girls, welcome to the show. This is Convincing Idiots. My name's Dean.
Brian Gen X.
I was going to fill in a blank for you if you didn't know.
Fuck. Okay, yes, I'm the Zennial. It's been 3 years.
I am a millennial, and I know my role. I follow directions well, and my name is Nicholas. And if this is your first time joining us, you will know that we are no strangers to getting off to a running start like we have here this evening.
I'm no stranger to getting off at a lot of things.
But we are a weekly podcast of three friends representing three different generations. Some are a little more reluctant to tell you that than others, but we do.
Right.
And we get together, we talk about nerd culture, pop culture.
Spooner or fork.
Things like that.
You two want to eat
that
shit
one
with.
keeps interrupting, and that happens here as well frequently. So we welcome you. If you have not done so already, please like, subscribe, rate, review, all those things on all of your favorite social media platforms. And rather than rattle them off for you, I would just like to tell you maybe you should consult our link tree. So Google Convincing Idiots Linktree, Linkree, and you will find all of the links to our social media accounts. You can also find that information on our website, which is convincingidiots.wordpress.com. And also, a couple of fun new additions to our website include a donate button if you feel so inclined. We have a Patreon page on there as well. Another way to help out the show, which also gives you a little something back. I'm not trying to big time you guys too much, but we do have a limited line of merch right now. Okay, so it may be growing in the future. We got a couple items up there. You can find a link to our merch on our website. So be sure to check that out, please. Also, be sure to check us out on Boss Code Media if you've not already done so. Our friends at Boss Code Media have a lot of interesting creator-driven content available for you on your smartphone, smart TV. It is an application that you can download in whatever app store platform that you use. So search Boss Code Media today. We're on there, as well as our friends on It Came From Gen X. So please go check that shit out. What are you waiting for? God damn. So,
and I know that yes, it would be greatly appreciated by all three of us if you could throw anything towards us, $2, $200, $1 billion, whatever. But if you can't, we understand.
Sure.
The very least what you do is go to whatever you're listening on, give us 5-star reviews, especially Apple or Spotify. Give us the 5-star, the highest rating. Leave us a good review. Even if you don't believe us,
it's the
leave us a good
cheapest
review
way you can help us.
Right, because all of that does help us, help people find us. We go up in the rankings or whatnot. So, yeah, at the very least, give us some 5-star reviews and some good comments.
Absolutely.
Very good. Very good. Very true. I endorse this message as well.
Well, I'm a truthful person.
Well, okay. Anyway, it's been a few weeks since we've gotten together. It was a little sickly week. Everybody took a little sick day off.
Raise your hand if you're not sick.
You're not
Nick.
sick.
I'm not sick, Nick. You're not
Oh.
sick. You should probably.
Well, I'm not. I don't know. I have allergies, but I've felt better. I'm a little congested. I'm not sick though, so okay.
Okay. Well, thanks for turning that bit up. All right, moving on.
That's what I'm here to do, people. That's what I show up for. Just to stomp
rammed
on
it right in
Dean's
the
shit.
ass.
Yeah,
That's right.
I'm here for stomping on your shit and ramming ass. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The only reason I'm
so
friends with you.
we've heard enough from Dean so far. Brian, what have you been up to in the last 2 weeks?
Well, as Dean was alluding to, I've been sick. So last week I came down with tested positive for
Herpes?
COVID. So
COVID. No.
COVID. Yes. So it's my
Engorged
second.
testicles.
That. Well, that's a normal
It's
thing.
huge.
That's a normal thing. Can't see
Have
when
you seen him walk?
Yep, I was sitting in a wheelbarrow underneath me, off camera. Can't see. Just a weird side effect of COVID. No, but it's my second bout with it. Fortunately, very minor symptoms. But last week I was just too congested and tired to do the show. So that was it. Nick was unavailable anyway. So we hope you enjoyed some of our replay clips last week. But I am feeling better. I'm a little bit congested, so I apologize to the listeners and viewers out there if you hear a little bit of my voice. But feeling better, doing well, and looking forward to a fun-filled coming weekend. So, thank you, Dean. How are you?
I am delightful. I did not have. No, I'm talking about like feelings about the innards and whatnot.
Okay.
Kind of
Inside.
subjective, but all right.
We're not talking about my personality. No, that is dog shit.
Okay.
I feel terrific. I was a little worried because I sat next to you as we went and watched the Poltergeist.
Poltergeist 40th anniversary. We saw.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we
was a
got
lot
to
of fun.
the theater, got to see it, and it was a lot of fun. And then when that. The next day I get a text from Brian saying, hey, I tested positive, and hope you enjoyed holding hands in the movies.
Good news is you can't spread COVID from jerking somebody off in popcorn. So there you
That's
go.
right.
Comes to find out,
Fortunately.
no, you can't,
Fortunately.
because he, Lord knows he tried and tried and tried, but nope, I tested negative. I am golden, as so to speak.
As the Dean head back there is.
Yep. Just gonna say that.
He's got headphones on
He
too
is.
this week.
Mhm.
Oh, nice. He's golden.
Yeah, he's golden. We are golden. Yeah. So what the hell? Have you guys seen? I don't know if this might be in the highlights. Have you guys seen? And I'm looking at the commercial here for the adult Happy Meal.
I have seen that on social media, and
McDonald's?
I've
This is the
seen
first
in some.
TV commercial I'm watching for it.
It's got
Yeah,
beer
it's
in it or what?
Interesting.
No, it just has like a retro toy and like a large. It's like a normal portion of food, right? It's not the Happy Meal portion. But
Correct.
It just has a
It's
toy.
like right. You get an old school toy like the hamburger or Grimace, or there was a couple ones like I don't remember what the girl's name. She looked like a duck.
Yeah.
It was a chicken. It was a chicken nugget.
Was she a chicken? Was she a chicken?
Birdie? Is it Birdie?
I
Is
think
her
you're
name
right.
Birdie?
I think you're
Something
making
like
up
that,
shit. But yeah, it
No.
could that sounds like it could
It was
be
the
that.
chicken nugget.
so.
It was like an 80s thing or something. She came into the picture or something like that. Yeah.
And then there was one that's like 6 eyes, which I did have no clue what the fuck that is.
I don't get that either. It's strange. But
So, but yeah, I again, I don't.
What the fuck,
So-
McDonald's?
I
Yeah,
saw
it's
that
weird.
on the TV right behind you guys. So,
I'm interested. It's generated some popularity there. I've seen
I
some
thought about it.
people posting stuff. Yeah, it's like I haven't had McDonald's in a while, but yeah, I'll go get the retro toy. It is smart marketing on somebody's part.
You can get the Big
Yeah.
Mac, you can get a 10-piece nugget, and a couple other different things, to choose from. You get the large fry and the drink,
You should put the
and then
cookies
the
back.
retro toy.
Bring back the cookies.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm all about cookies.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what my shirt says.
what does it say?
I stand for cookie.
As luck would have it, I'm wearing a cookie shirt right now.
Right.
I love the cookies.
I
love
stand
cookies.
for cookie.
Yeah, he was a pitcher for the Indians. He had cancer a couple years back, and then this was the sweatshirt they sold for him in support.
Very good.
So,
Okay.
but I also do enjoy cookies, so it
was a win-win.
really the dualism really works. on
Yeah.
that.
All right.
Oh my
Nick,
god,
how
I
are
gotta
you?
have it. I fucking love cookies. No, the picture
Yeah.
has cancer. Yeah, but I fucking love cookies though.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I get it, but also cookies. I'm well. I am well. I also enjoy cookies.
Nobody asked.
I enjoyed some fudge stripes this evening. Yes, I'm a
Nice.
cookie
Very
fan.
good.
You always enjoy the fudge stripe.
Fudge stripes. That's right. Fudge stripes are what Brian was calling his underwear when he was too tired from COVID to get to the bathroom.
Funny. That's funny.
It
I
is.
was going to use that as a Robin
Mm.
washing your clothes. Go ahead.
Fudge
Lead
stripes.
into the punch.
She calls me fudge stripes. Yes. No, I'm good. I don't even know what we did this weekend. Oh yeah, I do. We went to Cider Fest. So in Norton, they have it, every year around this time. And, different local vendors and things like that, and with tents, and they make you walk through all of the people like trying to hand you brochures and trying to get you to buy shit from them before you
Yeah.
finally get to like the food, the donuts, the cider. It's all in the very back. You have to walk all the way past everything else to get to it. But it is a nice event. We like to go every year and get a big gallon of apple cider and some donuts, and kettle corn is a big attraction for me. So
Yeah.
that was very nice. Nice little weekend. And then Sunday I spent, my uncle came over and helped me do some things around the house. We hung out, watched some football, and had a couple beers. Nice little laid back family weekend.
Very good.
Aw.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
moving
Sorry, I was
on,
drinking and
like
That's
in the
okay.
middle of your segment, you're like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna drink beer or
I kind of-
whatever."
I kind of
what do
went.
you got, a pina colada?
Yeah,
What do you got in
there? I kind of went, yeah, and then trailed
Just-
off. I figured you guys meant, understood that I was done talking. That and
was it.
holding a cup to my face.
Well, there's also the idea that neither of us pay attention to you, so
Sure.
we had no clue until we're like halfway into silence. What was going on.
Mhm.
So,
Yep. Just almost like a Dean punchline.
Yeah.
Just the silence there.
Sits there in silence.
it is
All
not
right.
my fault. My
Mhm.
jokes are so advanced
Mhm.
that you guys just don't get them. That's not my fault.
We'll keep working on it. So it's been 2 weeks, guys, since we shot. So I'm sure we've all at least seen something interesting that we'd like to review in our idiot to review. So, Dean, you mentioned you saw a bunch of stuff over the last couple of weeks here. Anything you want to tell our
yes.
listeners about, sir?
Yeah,
Viewers?
yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me start. Do a little PSA for you guys. Spooky season's upon us, and this is October. We're going to be talking about vampires, and upcoming shows we're going to be talking about some sort of monsters or ghosts or something like that.
Yep.
But I just wanted you all to know that it is important for your Halloween party to invite ghosts. Do you know why? Because they will bring the booze.
This is one of those moments we mentioned just a few minutes ago.
I love it. Okay.
I did laugh at that. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's a dad joke. What are you gonna do?
Yep.
All right. I've watched a few things, guys. I'm continuing to watch Quantum Leap. It's getting better. The first two episodes were sped up and
I
a
heard
little
they sucked.
clunky.
Like a couple people said it was really bad, so that's probably. Is that what
No, I wouldn't say real bad, but like the third one was really good.
okay.
I think they're really starting to find their footing. I hope that the ratings, stay at least. We're giving them a chance, right? But that's true to like most shows. I mean, look at again, Andor. Did you guys watch Andor?
Mm-hmm.
I watched the first couple. They dropped him in the first three, right? And the reason they did it because the first two fucking sucked. They were slow. It was just. Yeah, I mean, again, it was interesting. It was necessary because it got you where you needed to be storyline wise to get you to the good stuff. And that's the same as what happened with Quantum Leap. Is there's a lot of stuff to explain and a lot of stuff to like wrap your head around in order to start getting to the meat and potatoes of it. She-Hulk, I think, did the same. I'm still watching that, and I'm enjoying that. I think that's going to be interesting. I haven't seen this week's yet.
Well,
It
I
being
watched it tonight
Thursday.
before our episode tonight, so you will like this one. That's all I'll say.
Okay, I hear Charlie Cox might do a little cameo there, right? The television show Ghosts is back. I know we're again in spooky season.
Mhm.
If you guys haven't watched it on CBS, they started season 2 of Ghosts. It's just terrific. It's just a good old fashioned sitcom.
Okay.
The premise is fun. The casts themselves, the actors, are fantastic. Really well written. It's just an old fashioned sitcom, just a different kind. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Excuse me.
Is that the one with the young couple in a house where
yes.
and there's like all these different like ghosts from
Yep.
different time periods in the house or whatever that? Okay.
It's a lot of fun. And I just want to actually now give a chance to say that you two were right. The Patient with Steve Carell on FX is bam. That is amazing.
Yep.
It is. Nick, did you watch it? Were you one also? Okay, Nick, you have to.
I've never
watch
even
it.
heard of it before.
It's on FX. You can, It is Steve Carell as a psychiatrist, and he gets kidnapped by one of his patients.
Oh yes, I have heard of it because Brian was talking. That's right. Okay.
Holy shit, man! It is intense. It is. It's riveting. Like they use silence as a fucking character. Like it's crazy. Like what they can do. And how good Steve Carell is as an actor. Holy shit. I highly recommend that. That's riveting. I can't say enough good things about that. And I'm glad, like, we got to the end, which we thought was the end, because, you know, you're used to binge watching, and you're like, oh, good. This is a weekly show that they'll keep dropping. So I'm very happy about that, that it's continuing. So, yeah. Nick, please, do yourself a favor. At least first episode, you're going to be hooked. And like Brian said, they're like 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
They're easily digestible, but like you're in it, you know, you're in that moment for 20 minutes.
Yeah, you're in that room with Steve Carell. That's what it is. You feel his tension.
You sometimes hold your breath, like you don't even realize you're doing it. It's kind of one of those shows.
Yeah.
I'd like to also review briefly The Poltergeist. Brian and I went. We watched the 40th anniversary in the theaters. Brian tried to give me COVID, but
sadly, I could not be tempted to accept.
That's right. He failed.
Darn. Shucks. Go ahead.
But it's one of those. Again, I'm not giving spoilers, but of a 40-year-old movie, it wasn't what I remembered. Some things should be left in the memory banks. And maybe that movie's one of them. It wasn't. I guess you're used to watching all these new movies, these new horror movies that kind of have a faster pace, but like there was a good first 10 minutes where like nothing happened, and then one tiny thing, and then all hell breaks. So like they spent way too much time with building poorly the characters, and then jumped in way too fast. It just, again, it is what it is. It's a classic. It was fun to watch. I liked that we got to see it together in the theaters, and I cut the hole in the bottom of the popcorn thing for Brian. That was a lot of fun. I do recommend going to the theater with Brian, you know, unless he's
to see any movie.
Right, unless he's hacking up a COVID lung, you know, other than that. No, it was fun. And then my last, you know what? I'm going to save the last one for our main event tonight, because it is Interview with the Vampire. Okay. I will get into that when we get into the meat and potatoes of the evening. But other than that, gentlemen, that's everything I can remember that I've seen, watched, and experienced. Other than, real quick, it's very quick. Did you guys know that Ice-T has a fucking metal band?
Yeah, yes, I've heard some of that.
Yeah, body count. They've been around forever. Yeah,
I did not know this.
Yeah.
I
Talk
I
shit,
heard him
get
on
shot.
a pod. I heard him on a podcast, so I looked it up, and it's not bad. I enjoyed it.
Good.
Actually, one of the first songs on Megadeth's new album features Ice-T.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Very
Good stuff.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was neat. I at least wanted to bring it up. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, check them out. Nick, what about you, sir? What did you see?
Not much. The only thing I can recall really watching that's new is the season premiere of Saturday Night Live, which I was very interested in. We've talked before on the subject that I, have been an avid fan for many years, and I don't really ever miss an episode. So we watched the season premiere, and I was very interested because, notably they lost a lot of the cast, like from last season.
I heard it was like the biggest turnover ever.
It's up there for sure.
I would imagine it was. I mean, there's really not that. I mean, it's probably close to
least
half.
8. It's at least 8 or something like that, right?
Yeah, at
something
least of their main cast members. So it was good. I mean, it's typical. Like the opening sketch was actually pretty fun because that's essentially what they did was poke fun at. They did kind of a spoof on Peyton's Places, where Peyton was kind of commenting on, he was kind of doing a commentary on an opening SNL political sketch or whatever, and they were kind of poking fun at how many people that they lost, and the different kind of plays they were trying to maneuver and things like that. So it was good. There was a couple sketches that were just like, what the fuck, like I really just don't understand like how this made it onto the show or whatever. There's not always, but you typically will have one of those in there somewhere. But there was a couple of those. But it'll be interesting. I don't know off the hop though if any like new face really jumped out at me. It was more of just kind of like you kind of see some people that had been featuring cast members that you could see where they're going to step into a bigger role and take the mantle a little bit. But we'll see where it goes from there. But that's about it. That, and I started watching which I think we're going to talk a little bit more about tonight as well. But the Jeffrey Dahmer show on Netflix with Evan Peters, who's just a phenomenal fucking actor. He was on American Horror Story, and stuff like that for many years.
Quicksilver in the X-Men movies.
That's right, he was. Yeah, that's right.
He also Wanda, and he played Quicksilver.
Yeah, or he was
Wanda and the Vision. Yep.
Yeah, right, her brother or whatever.
Did you just call it Wanda and the Vision?
Wanda and the Vision. Was it WandaVision? I'm trying to say.
WandaVision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it's like an old 80s sitcom. Wanda and the Vision.
Wanda and the Vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that's been pretty good so far as well. So, but that's about it. I've been super busy. I haven't really watched much of anything that I can remember. So, what about you, Brian?
I'm watching a lot of the same stuff you guys do. So I'm current with The Patient. Dean, there's like 6 episodes now, 6 or 7, something like that. I watched the most current one this week. You're getting very, very good. Continues to heat up. No spoilers, but like you said, just very, very good. The whole storyline is great. I am current with Andor as well. That continues to heat up a little bit too.
That's getting better, isn't it?
It is.
Like it definitely picked up.
It's interesting I don't know. It's just to me, it's kind of interesting where you see the Empire. It's like you get more of a feel of. It's like, who are the hell are these people? And these are people that in this. It's like they have it's a career for some of these people. It's a job, and it's
they
like
don't know
office.
anything about Sith or Jedi.
No.
They're just working.
It's like an office type feel environment or something like that with a real super tough boss. That type of thing. But,
sure. It almost feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of sometimes feels like I'm more interested in watching the Empire stuff than the Rebel stuff.
Yeah.
At times.
Sometimes, yeah. But it is interesting. It's great to see the old TIE fighter and different things. So it's going to continue to get better.
How cool was that when it zipped down by them, like in the water?
Yeah.
All right, that was cool.
Yeah, that was neat.
You've never really seen it like interact like that. So
yeah. Just on patrol like that, yeah. I've watched the entire Dahmer series, so we'll talk more about that in our next segment.
People love that. People are just eating that up.
That was good. Well done.
Yeah,
thank you.
But just like you said, it's just super super tense. Great acting between Evan Peters and the lady that plays Glenda Cleveland, Niecy. Yeah, I'll have to look her name up there.
It's not Nash, is it?
I'll have to look it up, but those two alone,
That's
is
somebody too.
worth the view. Those two there, so just a very dark, demented series, but just to me, just has had me riveted. So I remember when it came. I remember the whole thing went down in the news in the early '90s. It was like just really hard to get your head around that
Yeah,
really
I was right.
something like
Niecy
that can happen.
Is that
DC Nash.
Yeah, she was also in Reno 911.
Okay, that's right. That's what I saw her
Yes,
before.
yeah.
That's right. Okay, but we'll talk more about that in our next segment. And I watched the Rob Zombie Monsters movie.
Oh, is that out?
It
By
is
all
on
means, I am patiently
Yeah.
waiting here.
It's on Netflix streaming now. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the effects are the effects are cool. The costumes are terrific. The sets are awesome, colorful, eerie, fun. It's like a Rob Zombie. He's definitely a Rob Zombie all over this thing, right?
Yeah.
The monster's home. They made a big deal about that because he definitely was very adamant to recreate the original 1313 home. It looks exactly like it, but then the guy that played Grandpa was exceptionally good. You know, I liked him a lot. It's a story that just didn't need it. I don't care personally. What made the Monsters fun for the original series? I love the series. I grew up watching reruns of that as a kid, and I've always been into the weird monster stuff and everything anyway. So that show was definitely right up my alley. But what made that show so funny was the
Now you got your own.
interaction. Huh?
Now you got your own
Monsters
alley.
home?
Now you got your own alley.
There you go. That's right. That's right.
Dean with
Thank
the
you.
fucking puns tonight, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. No, but it's just what made the Monsters series funny was the interactions of they're in this creepy house in the middle of a normal neighborhood, right? And it's the interactions with normal people. One of the funniest parts of the show was when people would come up and try to, they'd bring Marilyn would have a date and they get creeped out and, they would think that normal people are weird and funny. But most of the movie was the story of how did they get from Transylvania in the grandpa's castle? How did Herman and Lily meet? How was Herman created? How did Herman get his job? All that stuff. How did they get all the way over to finally to 1313 Mockingbird Way? Now it's an hour plus into the movie by the time they get to the house.
Oh,
and it
Jesus.
was so it's very little interaction. And first of all, when they get to the house here, it's Halloween time, so everybody's dressed up. So they think, oh, great, we're moving to this really neat, cool neighborhood. And then the next day they go out and they see normal people and they're kind of afraid, intimidated. But I don't remember really barely any interaction besides the real estate agent, which is played by the lady, Cassandra, that plays Elvira. That's who she played in this movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was fine. All that was fine. But there's very little interactions with just like quote unquote normal people. So I'm just like, okay.
How is the writing? Like the story, the acting? I mean,
the acting was fine. It's not the actor's fault. I think the actors are trying to do with what they got. But like I said, it's just I'd never watched The Monsters one time ever, the series, and thought, you know what would be kind of cool? To understand how they got to this house. No, the one thing that was kind of sweet and funny was they showed when they got Spot, the huge dragon that lived under the stairs, right, as a little baby dragon, and as the movie went on, he kind of was starting to grow and stuff like that. That was kind of cute, right? Yeah. But there's no Eddie because he's just not born yet.
Well,
what
that tells you is Rob Zombie thinks. Or was thinking that I'm definitely getting a sequel or a trilogy out of this.
Maybe. That's if it just had a same actors, same.
So this was an origin story of the monsters.
Yeah,
interesting.
It's a prequel to the series, is what it is. Right. So That's it. That's over. I don't. It's definitely in the top.
You at least saw it.
Top 10. I did see it. It's in the top 10 or something in Netflix. So definitely people are watching it. But like I said, it's just not. If you watch it, you know what? You can fast forward like an hour into it, and be like, okay, I get the gist. Seriously, I don't know. But Rob Zombie is definitely a fan. He's definitely paying homage to the original series. All that stuff is fine. It's just, like I said, not necessary.
Sure.
So that's it. That's what I got.
My producer off camera heard me say that I couldn't remember what I watched, and she wrote something down for me, and I forgot about this. Yes, I did also watch. We watched
The Boys.
No, we watched. It's called 11 Minutes. It was a documentary on the Vegas shooting, and that was like really because it takes account from multiple different people in the crowd at that festival, and just their experience. And I mean, you remember hearing about it on the news and stuff, and I guess I just really hearing that side of it and realizing for how long that they couldn't. I mean, they didn't know where it was fucking coming from. Even all of a sudden you're looking around, and it was one of the country artists that was on the stage at the time. They were talking to him, and he was saying for a while, he was still on the stage playing because he had these ear monitors in.
Sure.
And he thought he was getting some weird feedback, or one of the speakers was shorting out or something like that. And he's, meanwhile, he's looking off the stage and he's like, fucking fix this. Like, I can't. He goes, it's really annoying. And I can't, like,
what is
make
this
that
on?
sound stop. I don't know. I don't, it could, maybe Paramount. We've been watching a lot of Paramount, but it could be on Paramount or HBO. I'm not sure.
I haven't got the right login for that.
You didn't get the right login for it.
Yeah, you didn't give me one.
Yes, I did.
Did you?
We'll get there. I'm not 100% sure. Look it up. It's called 11 Minutes, but it's on. Yeah, it was about the Vegas shooting and different people's
experiences. About your sex life.
Yeah, right. 11. Oh, you're too generous. 11 minutes. You.
I'm just gonna say it's like normally it's good that Robin watched 11 minutes. Normally she watches like 8 minutes. That's what I'm saying. Like that.
But yeah, one of the cops talks about it. There was one guy that they're talking to. He was a rookie. It was his first day on the job. His first fucking day, the shit happened at the festival. So yeah, it's just pretty wild, man. Pretty scary shit. But that's actually it. That as far as I can remember.
That was crazy. That dude had a whole arsenal in that room. It just
he rented out that.
Did he get it up there like that? It's
he
crazy.
rented out that, and he had every room on that floor except for 2. He had every fucking hotel room on that entire floor except for 2.
Nope, doesn't seem strange at all.
Nope.
Yeah, right.
God, jeez, man.
They'll do anything in Vegas to get you to stay. Hell, I got a call tonight saying that since Las Vegas is back open, we would like you to be our guest, and you can get your choice out of these 3 hotels. We'll give you $500 in spending and a $500 voucher for
they must have heard the podcast. They must be fans.
I know, right? No, but I mean, they were giving away the fucking house. I mean, how true it is this, once you break it down and I went further. But I mean, I didn't. I'm like, I'm driving. He goes, well, you could pull over on the highway. I'm like, click. I hung up. I'm like, don't. Yeah, I'm like, okay. Now you're just being an obnoxious salesman.
This is simply an offer you can't refuse.
Right. But
this is worth potentially dying for on the side of the road.
Right. Go ahead, pull over. It'll be fine. But no, it's just but that shows that like in Vegas or probably any hotel, if you have the money, they'll rent it out and not think twice about it.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of potentially dying on the side of the road here, guys, our next segment is going to be about serial killers. So we're going to talk about a little bit of pop culture headlines, and we talked about
the guy who cut Captain Crunch's throat.
Go ahead.
No, that was it. That was
serial killer. Come on.
No, that was
you see, I'm up here, guys. Get
Please
with me. Come on.
insert
Come to my
cricket
level.
noise
Yeah.
here.
I must still be slow from the COVID or something, perhaps.
You must be, because that was gold.
Excuse me. Yeah. So serial killer shows, we mentioned Dahmer even here. A couple of us are watching that series here. Just a very popular. In our next segment, we're going to get to in our idiot inquiry. Why are they so popular? Is it why are people fascinated by serial killers in general, shows, content? Are we becoming desensitized to murder because of all these shows, or is it something else?
Murder?
I don't know. Yes.
Well, everybody needs an obsession, right? Like everybody
Mhm.
watches serial killer shows, or Nick watches hockey. I am obsessed with insurance.
Of course.
I can't
Who
help
isn't?
It's right. Especially once you hear about Blake Insurance.
How could you not be
And
obsessed?
first time I heard about Blake Insurance, my heart started fluttering. I got the flop sweats. Yes, I was
Mhm.
eating a bowl of chicken, but still, I was very excited to tell you. So please let me tell you, Blake Insurance is an Erie insurance agency located right here in Barberton, Ohio. They provide auto, home, renters, and business insurance with honesty, decency, and affordability. Erie Insurance is above all else in service. You want to call 234-571-5359 or visit BlakeInsuranceLLC.com for your free 5-minute quote today. And when you do, tell that lovely, lovely young man or his beautiful wife, whoever answers the phone, that these idiots sent you.
Very good. And you mean Aaron? You might too get some flop sweat just from his
I can't help it.
aura. Yeah. Yep.
It's what he brings to the table, boys.
That's right. That's right. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with pop culture headlines and our idiot inquiry of the week. People are dying to tune in.
That's right.
That was good, Dean.
Welcome back to Convincing Idiots. You know, some call us like a idiot's paradise, guys. We're a paradise for idiots. You know what I'm saying? So
Been spending most of our lives in it.
yeah, it kind of makes me think of Gangsta's Paradise.
Mm.
The famed song by Coolio. We do want to mention that song because Coolio just passed away last Wednesday at age 59. So relatively young man. So I don't know the cause of death, but certainly in the 95 film he was in Dangerous Minds.
Dangerous Minds, yeah.
Yeah, so that Gangsta's Paradise
Was he in it, or did he just do the song?
Just the song, yeah.
It was used in the film. It was used in the film Dangerous Minds, starring Michelle Pfeiffer.
He was in a movie, though, right?
He was in the video, because I remember them sitting like back-to-back chairs, looking at each other doing that deal. But I don't remember him being in the movie itself.
He did some acting, though. He had been, actually, he was in... was it one of the Marvel movies he did like a little small part in or something? He was in...
I don't know. I don't have it in my notes here, but
I'm pulling it up here.
Okay.
I feel like I saw a still and I was like, oh yeah, like it was one of those things that he was in a movie that you kind of just didn't realize.
All All right, well, Dean's looking that up here. So, Gangsta's Paradise certainly was his most popular song from the film Dangerous Minds. Also had hits with Fantastic Voyage. That was a cover he did. 1, 2, 3, 4, Something New, and It's All the Way Live. And of course, he had one of the most highest honors that a musician could have. Probably, I know Dean will agree with this. Is if you have a song parodied by the great Weird Al Yankovic. So, Gangster's Paradise was made Amish Paradise by Weird Al. I don't think Coolio was too keen on that.
He was not. He was one of
He
the
was not
only
happy.
that didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's one of the early, one of a few of the early things that I remember of Coolio. One was like his acceptance speech at, I think it was like the VMAs or something like that, where he actually, because like Weird Al had recently won for something for Amish Paradise, and then like Coolio actually like said something about like,
Oh man.
and here's where he's like, even though he asked for permission and we didn't give it to him, but he fucking did it anyway. So whatever. Like, but coming from a millennial standpoint, Coolio had such an impact on many people my age's life. Not only for Gangsta's Paradise was everywhere and everybody knows that song, but definitely he sang the theme song for Kenan and Kel on Nickelodeon. He's in the opening credit, and he's rapping in the car with Kenan and Kel, and he's doing his thing. And to this day, it's probably one of my favorite theme songs every time it comes on. I love it. Yeah, the Kenan and Kel theme song is a big one for Coolio. People of my vintage will remember Coolio probably mostly for that.
Yeah, that's great. He just had a cool look to him with the braids and kind of crazy hair and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Go ahead, Dean.
All right. He's been in a lot of things, none to which I know of.
Okay.
I mean, he's been in a couple. Like he was in an episode of Early Edition, The Nanny, back in the late '90s. Probably played himself. He played a banker in Batman and Robin.
That was it. That was the one. Okay, so not more. But yeah, I was gonna say it was something superhero related. That's right. Yeah.
Get Over It. He was in. He played himself. Gangland. He played a police officer. Episode of Charmed.
Okay.
A lot of B movies. He was in Daredevil.
With Ben Affleck.
Yeah, with Ben Affleck.
That's two strikes for the superhero movies. Batman and Robin with George Clooney and Ben Affleck, right. Daredevil.
But to tie it into everything else or other things that we're doing tonight, he was in 2004's Dracula 3000.
Oh, okay.
So tie that shit together.
This should automatically make some of the best vampire movie list right there.
That's right.
Well, I mean, it's certainly Gangsta's Paradise. If you have an all-decade playlist of the '90s, that song's probably going to be in there, right? So
that's it's one of my 6-year-old Oliver. It's one of his all-time favorite songs. He listens to it all the time.
Yeah, very good. So rest in peace.
Oliver does live in a Gangsta's Paradise, so that does make sense.
Yeah, he was in the Sonic movie, and he's never let it go ever since. He loves that song.
That's right. All right, so we talked about we're starting to watch Dahmer, so Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer series. A couple episodes of watching that. Nick, do you intend to watch this?
Yes,
you're watching. You're watching it now.
Yeah,
Dean's watching it. I watched the whole thing, so we're all watching. Either I've watched it, you guys are watching it. You've not seen it.
I have not, and I won't.
Okay, why not? Okay.
That's okay. Because you guys are shitting my jokes, and you both are watching it and enjoying it. I mean, I, on principle, will not.
No, go ahead. Why not? Why aren't you interested?
Well, first of all, let's say that this is our idiot inquiry of the week.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yep.
The idiot inquiry is why are these serial killer shows and movies? What is it about them that is captivating us? And are you captivated by it?
Yes. I'll start.
Go ahead, please.
I wouldn't say across the board. I'm not one of those people that is into like all the serial killer things or all that I watch it obsessively or anything like that. I find certain ones very, very interesting. Jeffrey Dahmer is one of them, and it's because it's so hard to wrap my head around someone doing the type of shit that he did that it's I like to try to watch every adaptation of it that I can. I guess maybe on some level, I don't, consciously think of it this way, but I think on some level I'm just trying to try to find something that may have what caused somebody's brain to work this way. What did something happen? Like, what the fuck? Who does that? I mean, it's one thing where people, maybe this is sounding desensitized, but people kill each other all the time. People murder, there's things like that. I mean, it's not just like popping off a gun, but like literally to like lure people to your residence and cut them up and eat them and multiply. I mean, it's so outside of even just being like illegal or wrong, or it's just on a whole other level of demented. And I won't go too long, but another one I can't watch enough stuff on Charlie Manson, and he is fascinating to me just from a psychological sense that he had this the way that he was able to manipulate things to his will is just, it astounds me everything I watch on him. So I'm like I said, I'm not all about like every single one, but some of these ones that are just, they really strike me as very interesting, and Dahmer is one of them, to where it's just in his case it's so just off the fuck, just so far out of bounds, like the shit that he did, that you're just like, how does even a sick person, like, how do you get to that? Like, that's a whole other level that you've unlocked there. Like, how do you mentally get to a place where you can physically do that type of shit, So, and it's not, I don't feel like it's, glorifying it or anything like that necessarily. It's just, I think it's just the general curiosity, of people. I mean, if people were driving around with, license plates and stuff like of Jeffrey Dahmer's face, like they do Darth Vader, you know what I mean? Like, that's a character and he's a villain, and that's but there's a degree of separation, you know what I mean? But like with serial killers, I think and maybe that's what draws people in general to serial killers, is the fact that they're not scary guys in a movie or a book. They're, these villains that were created out of imagination. These are real, living, breathing people who actually did this shit. And you're like, it brings that level of reality to it, where you just go, how did somebody actually do this type of stuff? So I don't know. That's kind of just the way that I think of it. But
yeah, that's where my head is too. It's like it's Dahmer around here it's an added curiosity, because we're in Northeast Ohio, in the Akron Barberton area, and he was from Bath, Ohio, which is very close to where we live. So it's a very local thing. But
one of my uncles knew him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There is down at Lake Ann, around the lake, there's a tree with a plaque. The tree's donated in his honor or whatever, and there's a plaque for that for his first victim. This Hicks, I believe his last name was.
Okay.
Let's never do that.
Missing some limbs.
I didn't want to give it to you, but you made me. Look at that.
No, but I have the same thoughts you had. Like I said, just the curiosity of how the brain can just get, what makes a person turn to. It's just very interesting. I'm also watching the John Wayne Gacy tapes. That's also on Netflix. It's like a 3-part thing. I'm on the 3rd. That's another one.
Was he the clown killer?
Yeah.
Was that Gacy?
He dressed up like a clown, but he didn't dress up like a clown to kill necessarily. It was just that
was his job. Wasn't it?
He did that for like community type stuff. He was like a it was a neighborhood democracy. Anyways, he was like a neighbor. He arranged stuff for the local neighborhood and everything. Kind of helped
so
people
not a
out
bad
with.
guy, just made some bad decisions along the way.
No, man.
I don't think. No, I don't think you can.
The story. Just when they. So now but they're also. These are extra interesting too, because they're interviewing actual officers that were on the case, that were in the house, in the crawl space, digging out corpses out of the house. These guys are doing these interviews, talking about this stuff, and it's just like, God, just to imagine what they had to go through. And it's like he had, 30 bodies or so in the house.
Jesus.
It's just crazy nuts. And he's just, just living his life. It's like I say, it's just a curiosity of the whole thing. It's just, wow. That's it. That's just my fascination and curiosity of the whole thing. So now, Dina, you mentioned that you have no intention to watch Dahmer. Do you have? Are you against in general, or are you just in?
Are you
Dahmer,
against Jeffrey Dahmer? Do you?
Yes.
What's up with that?
A little bit. No, I'm just like you guys, just like the public in general. I am fascinated by like how that brain works, why somebody could do such things. I'm also fascinated by the catching of them, like the TV shows Criminal Minds,
right,
or even also the ineptitude of some of the police officers. Yes, hindsight being 2020, but some of the because I've watched documentaries on Dahmer before, and like the one guy he was doing like the lobotomy thing on him, right, and he got out.
Right.
And he flagged down police officers, and Dahmer was able to,
he brought him back in the house.
Coax and cohorts the police officers to let him take him back home. I mean,
they said it was a boyfriend and he was drunk or he was high or something, and they were like, "Okay, have a nice night, sir. You and your 14-year-old lover have a good night."
And I know hindsight being 2020, but come on. I mean, but yeah. Anyways, the fascination of all of that like mentally how that could happen on all sides is fascinating. And yes, I've watched documentaries and TV shows. I watched the movie on Ted Bundy. I've watched documentary on Ted Bundy. I am fascinated by all of that.
Zac Efron.
Right. He did a great job.
Fascinated by that too.
Yeah, he did.
Yes. The Dahmer thing, the only reason I have the issue with the Dahmer thing, and I could just, decide one day to blow it off and take a look at it. But I read an interview, and some of the victims' families are like, a little upset. You know what I mean? They're like, and I started thinking to myself, like, yeah, like you're not glorifying him, but like you're putting him on display, of some sort, right? I don't know. I wasn't. It made sense, like to put myself in their shoes. I'm like, that does seem probably a little bit, in bad taste. But then again, we make movies about Hitler. We make movies about, Ted Bundy. And speaking of Brian, you'd mentioned like the horrific scene that what's his name? Gacy, John Wayne Gacy. What they walked into, but remember Ed Gein?
Sure.
Ed Gein, who is the kind of the quasi prototype, so to speak, for Texas Chainsaw Massacre
and Psycho.
Like what he did. I mean, you want to look up and read or watch anything about a fucked up story, watch it. Look up for Ed Gein. That dude was, like he was like the grandfather of psycho fucking killers, right? Yeah, it's crazy. But the Dahmer thing, I probably ultimately will probably watch it. But like I just felt weird after seeing that interview with the one guy's sister. So I don't know. That's my hesitant to it.
Okay.
But I probably ultimately will watch it.
Now, do you think these are, some people say that they're, making us desensitized to the horror, and they're making, so it's like not real, that it's just a story. So. You hope that...
I hope the public gets desensitized, because if not, how in the fuck would you get through this podcast, listening to this? You have to be desensitized from a lot of shit to get through this. So by all means, throw out all the worst shit you can. Let's get these people broken down so they can enjoy this.
Good call. It's definitely
Thank you.
a good
Thank
good
you.
stance.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I don't think that it's like you said. I don't really know how to go about saying it, but I mean, it's not. We're all understanding that it's a TV portrayal of something that did actually happen, but it's there would certainly be a difference, I guess, if you were to in person witness what you were seeing on screen, right? If you had seen
Right.
some of these scenes in the show in front of you, you would certainly have a different reaction. I don't think it's making you desensitized, because when you're taking this stuff in or you're just listening to these stories, yes, you know that they actually happen, but you're not experiencing them happening. There's a different element to that. I don't know. I mean, as far as like younger audiences who might see it, I mean, there's a lot of talk about that over the years with things that the kids see on TV, and that they become desensitized to things because everything's just so out there, and like I don't know about that, but I don't think for your regularly functioning adult brain is going to be desensitized by watching a show that is a portrayal of true events
I don't know.
or something like that. I don't know.
I watched Interview with the Vampire just recently, and I have a very strong urge to bite Nick in the neck.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that is what it is. Take it for what that's worth.
Sure. Yeah. To be fair, though, that's been there. That urge to bite me in the neck was there.
That's
to be fair,
true.
long before you ever saw that.
That's true.
But yeah. So I don't know. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I'm with you, Nick. It's like
You would bite my neck also. You're thinking
well,
about that?
of course.
Okay.
Of
Good.
course.
Yes.
No, but it's just when I watch these things,
I think I know who's getting COVID next.
No, but just
Can
like
you get
watching
COVID of the butt?
no, but watching the Dahmer thing, it's just like I definitely I feel horrible for the victim. I put my you feel the victim's angst and terror, and you just are sad for them, and you just imagine you're a loved one going through that horror, and you
And you
know
have to watch the portrayal of it.
Yeah.
What's that?
And now you have to watch the portrayal of it.
Right, exactly. So it
Even
doesn't
if you
make me.
don't watch it, you know that
it's
other
out there.
people are watching it,
And that's
see
different
what your
for
brother
you,
went
'cause
through.
Other people aren't thinking of it like that, because to them they're perfect strangers, and this is just the victim of sort.
Right.
But to you, the person with the connection, you can't help that's the way you feel about it. You know what I mean? That would be a weird thing.
Yes, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know if it's desensitizing people necessarily. Maybe some. I don't know, but I think there's a lot of people that feel like we do too, to where you'd feel bad on behalf of you heard about it in the news, and really in the news story, it's like, God, that's weird and creepy and all that. And it's just like when you watch something like this at that level, it's like, wow, this was really, really horrible and terrible, and you really feel awful for everybody involved. And I don't know, it just makes me. Maybe it's almost the opposite, to where it heightens my awareness of something, how horrible that is to do to another person. And I don't know. So I guess it's all part of the journey, watching those things. And like you say, I'm with you too, Dean. I like the part of it to where, like the Gacy thing in particular, because again, they're interviewing the actual officers who eventually caught the guy, and you get to hear how they knew something was wrong. They knew there was a case, but they have to legally try to string things together and have the means to arrest the guy. They had to get 2 search warrants, which is unusual. There's all kinds of things that fall into place to finally
insane.
catch a guy like that. Yeah. So anyway, okay.
They even said, like, Ted Bundy, and this goes to like spooky season. We're in October, guys, but I heard there was these one reports that, like, these people that went to do these interviews with Ted Bundy said, just like everybody did, he was charming and well spoken and just a regular mild mannered person. But like when he would start describing these these acts and what he did, they said like his eyes would just almost go black, like his face would like change, like it wasn't the same entity sitting in front of them for this brief moment while he's describing what he did and like enjoying describing what he did. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Any thoughts on the serial killer shows or anything else here, guys?
No, I think we solved the problem.
No more serial
Yep.
killers will.
We just fixed it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the.
Yep. And Dean's killed a couple of jokes as well in this particular segment too.
All the while slaying himself. There you go.
Mhm. Well, some parts of that segment sucked.
May or
gentlemen.
may not be heard on the podcast.
I
Yep.
see what you did there.
Yep. And another thing that does suck is vampires.
That's true.
And that is what we're talking about in our main segment this evening. Vampires, vampire content. So some of our favorite vampire content. It could be movies, it could be shows, it could be books, it could be anything that's vampire related. We're going to talk about that in our main segment this evening.
Right after you suck on some of this commercial break.
That's right. Be right back.
You left him for dead in Konami's Castlevania. How foolish to presume he'd perish without leaving a curse. For now, in Simon's quest for Nintendo, fate stalks your very being, and you'll need more than clues from cowardly villagers to survive when day turns into night. But just keep telling yourself it's only a video game. It's only a... Huh?
And we welcome you back for the third and final. Yes, that's right, third. Not one, not two, but three. The third segment of Convincing Idiots. This evening, we are discussing strange accents. No, we are discussing vampires and vampire-related content. It is spooky season. I don't know if you guys do or not. It is spooky season. It is very scary. Halloween is upon us. And I'll tell you what, it's soon will be time to trick or treat. You'll see many costumes. A lot of people a lot of kids dressed up as vampires and things of that nature. It's fun. It's a classic costume. But be leery out there. Be careful while you're taking your kids door to door. It is spooky, but it's all about the fun. Watch out for the candy, but there is nothing scarier. And I mean, like parents far and wide understand when I say this, when you're taking your small kids trick-or-treating, there's nothing scarier than heading up a steep hill while you're taking your kids trick-or-treating and leg cramp, Charlie horse, down. These problems and so many more frightening scenarios can be gone if you owned your very own electric bike. Now, our friends at RPM Bike Shop could make this the most spooktacular season of all for you. Hold the spook.
I hate
okay?
you for that.
Hold the spook. Because you will not be left in a scary situation. Okay? Our friends at RPM Bike Shop have the finest selection of electric bikes for you. All you have to do is go to Facebook and search RPM Bike Shop. You could also go to their website, rpmbikeshop.com. There you can see photographs of their lovely transits that they can offer you in the form of their electric bicycles. You can also give them a call at 330-808-7792. And you too could be in flight up a very steep hill on your very own electric bike. From RPM Bike Shop today. Vampires. Anyway, so RPM Bike Shop's taken care of. We're talking about some vampires.
Yep.
All right. It is very spooky. Okay. Now, steep hills are scary, but vampires, perhaps scarier. Perhaps.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Some of them are fun. Some of them are lovable. Let's just go. We're just going to go around the circle here. We're going to discuss some of our favorite vampires, vampire-related characters, things of this nature through the years and different TV and movies and wherever you pull a vampire from. Everything's fair game, fellas. So, Dean, what kind of vamps you got?
Well, I have a list of the scary vampires, the lovable vampires, the goofy vampires. I'm going to start with the goofy vampires. You said, because I want to dispel this rumor that you have started, Nicholas, that all vampires are scary. No, Leslie Nielsen in the movie
boy.
Dracula Dead and Loving It was a lovable and funny vampire. So first on my list, Leslie Nielsen in Dracula, Dead and
Jeez,
Loving It.
Forgot all about that one.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? Is it
You're a
like
sack of shit. It's Leslie Nielsen.
I'm sorry that I took an interest in your thing that I didn't know about. Never mind. Brian, who do you have?
Leslie Nielsen got it when he did the airplane movie, Nick. He got kind of roped into that weird
okay.
humor.
Okay.
So he had the Naked Gun movies, and then he got kind of caught up in some of these other parody type movies for a while to find work. Really, probably poor man, but
he was good at it.
He was good at it.
Go back and watch Repossessed.
I remember that
actually had Linda Blair star with him in it. It was a spoof
of The Exorcist.
On The Exorcist.
Yeah.
But Dracula Dead and Loving It wasn't his best movie. It was of all of those, but it was Leslie Nielsen doing Leslie Nielsen. It was funny for what it was. I think Tim Daly was in it also from Wings. I believe he was in it.
We've talked more about this movie than people have since it probably came out. What else do you have? Go ahead.
Right. By all means, move on.
Yeah.
Nicholas, what do you got?
Well, I'll stick with the fun and lovable. Who here has not whose life has not been touched by this next vampire? Okay, especially this time of year.
Oh.
Uncle Vlad, stop that. I
want to tickle. That's all I do. I tickle.
No, good, clean fun around the breakfast table. Count fucking Chocula. Count
he's on
Chocula. Yes, absolutely. Count Chocula. It's a fun-loving fellow. Him and his other fellow monster friends, along with Boo Berry and Frankenberry. I have boxes of all three upstairs right now. Big fan. Actually, oddly enough, Count Chocula is probably my least favorite of the three, but nevertheless, I respect the hustle. I respect what he's done, and he, more than the other two, has been relevant because Count Chocula is on the shelves all year round. Boo Berry and Frankenberry, it's a seasonal treat. So, good on Count Chocula. Longevity,
staying power.
I mean, if there's one thing that vampires have, it's longevity and staying power. I mean,
that's true.
And chocolate can't go wrong. Count Chocula. There we go.
One of my favorite cereals of all time, and that takes me every time I see those monster cereals, without fail, it takes me the super nostalgia.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's why they keep cranking them out.
I was just saying, well, now they put it like the boxes I have, like before they'd put them out in their like themed boxes that were kind of updated. Last couple years, they've been putting out them on those plain with the throwback Kellogg or whatever like logo, the white box, like they kind of look like vintage. So that's kind of cool.
That's what I remember as a kid. And then I think last year it was the 50th anniversary of those cereals. They had a blend, like there's all the cereals in one. One blend was pretty good. But anyway,
I haven't seen yet this year, but last year on the back they had the dotted line cutout so you could do the Halloween mask of
nice.
Count Chocula or Blueberry.
My King Vitamins always had those on the back. They had like the little knight helmet and the king face and King Vitamin. Yeah,
good stuff.
Yep.
I saw a Hawaiian shirt with like all the monsters, like the Count, the cereal monsters on it. I'm like,
nice.
Very tempted to get that. You can find them out there. All right, we'll stay with some of the fun stuff. So we mentioned even tonight. So one of my favorite vampires, fun-loving vampire, Grandpa Munster from the Munsters there. So the great Al Lewis on the original Munsters was a terrific actor and vampire. And like I said, the guy that did the new Grandpa was decent in his own right there. But original Al Lewis, Grandpa Munster, the Count, one of my favorite vampires of all time.
I have one of my favorites, Lestat Lioncourt from Interview with the Vampire. Okay, so I'm going to take this time for a moment and talk about the new television show. It's not a remake. It is actually a continuation. It is 20 or 30 years after the movie.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a reboot, so it's not. Nope. It's a continuation.
It's a continuation story. Because Louis finds the original interviewer, right?
Okay. All right.
and
Christian Slater
brings
character guy.
Christian Slater's character, and he brings him back because they both weren't ready to tell the whole actual story. You find out that the interviewer was a drug addict, and Louis wasn't quite up to vampire snuff, to be honest. So they're both getting together to tell the whole and actual story. So they start from the beginning. They've diversified the cast. Louis is played by a African American gentleman. Lestat is still, looks like, Lestat, the blonde hair and whatnot. But they've changed up a little bit. Louis, this takes place. It doesn't take place in like the 1700s or 16, whatever it was in the movie. He is changed into a vampire in like 1910 or early 1900s. So they've adjusted some of the story, but it's intriguing. The acting's good. I'm looking forward to more of it. But yeah, my Lestat pick is given on Tom Cruise's performance.
Absolutely.
And the book performance. What Anne Rice wrote, I read the book. And Lestat, to me, is one of the best written book characters, let alone movie characters, there is, especially for vampires. So Lestat Lioncourt is my pick.
Okay.
Nice. Had a black cat as a kid named Lestat. That's what we named him. Yep.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
It's cute. Yep.
Yeah.
Nick, you got another one?
Yes, I will go with. Lestat was also on my list. I will go with. So I was like digging around trying to find some vampire characters, and one that kind of escaped me that I didn't really realize was, looking back. Yes. So I'd mentioned earlier when we were talking about Dahmer and Evan Peters and all that stuff that he was on American Horror Story. Well, in one season of American Horror Story, in which Lady Gaga was a member of the cast, I believe it was the hotel season, she was essentially a vampire, and that was just a really cool character. Just a very sexy, vampire, very sleek, very, just incredible. And then the very first episode of that season, I remember there's just this really graphic scene where her and her boyfriend at the time, they go out to a drive-in, and then they kind of meet up with this other couple, and they invite them back to the hotel to their suite. And the next thing they're having this, they're hooking up with this other couple, and then the bite happens, and then there's blood everywhere, and it's just this really graphic, blood-filled sex scene, and it was just really cool the way it was done. But it was just, I don't know, it was hot, it was cool.
The really cool blood-filled sex scene.
It was just cool. It was I don't know, it was very I don't know. It was very, very cool the way that they went out and, stalked their prey and kind of just, I don't know. But yeah, Lady Gaga and her character.
It was fun. We were drunk. She didn't tell me she was on her period. It was amazing.
There's blood everywhere. You know how it is. This is hot. It's good. No. Yeah, but no, that was a good one for me.
All right, very good. Well, there's many portrayals of Count Dracula himself. There's plenty out there for that. So, I'm going to go back to the great Bela Lugosi from the original Dracula movie way back in the 40s. I bought some box sets. So Universal re-released some of their classic movie monsters on DVD, like box sets and different things over the last few Halloween seasons. So they had Frankenstein's monster and Creature from the Black Lagoon and Dracula and stuff. So I picked up some of these. So I'd never seen that movie until within the last season or two when I picked that up. So it's just fun. He's great. He was a great portrayal of that. It was very true to the book, the original Dracula movie, which, kind of ties to Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is right along lines of the original book as well. But just a great Bela Lugosi as Count Dracula. Classic. He played that role a couple times, obviously, and so there you go.
When I was moving out of one apartment, going into the next, and I was moving in with this young lady, and we didn't. Cable was going to be hooked up, so we didn't have any TV at the moment. So the only thing she had with her was the entire box set season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, not going to watch that. No, thank you. She's like, well, at least, all right, I'm going to turn it on. At least watch one episode. That's all it took. I was hooked. I binged through that whole damn season. And to me, one of the coolest vampires there are is Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So he is next on my list.
Spike.
He would like they turned him when he in the 80s, so he is this punk rocker vampire, like more Johnny what's his name? Johnny Rotten, that type of character, British punk rock guy, turned in the 80s, but yeah. But great character, great show. I was more than pleasantly surprised. I don't care what anybody says. That show rocks. The writing was fantastic. It was what it was. It was a teen vampire show in the 90s, but it was cool.
Actually,
I loved it.
I believe to this day the back of the box set says, "quote This show rocks." Dean Harvey.
Yeah.
That's how they get people to buy it.
Sure.
There you go.
Vouched for by you.
Who wouldn't buy it if you read that on the back of a box set?
Wasn't there there was a spinoff from Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Wasn't there? Was it Angel? Is that what it was? Was that a vampire as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Without giving you the whole story and backstory, yes, Angel was a vampire on Buffy originally.
Okay. All right.
So, with Spike being my next pick, Nikolai.
Yes.
Who do you have?
I'm going to go real old school here. Another classic, another fun-loving one. The Count from Sesame Street. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just teaching kids how to count. Counting bats and shit. The Count's just a good
and shit.
Bats and shit. One bat and shit. Two bat and shit. Three bat
shit.
and
That's
shit.
guano.
Yeah, no, man. The Count's up there for me. The Count's a good vampire. So
I agree.
Well, my favorite Muppets of all time. As a kid, I had a story album type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the Count doing like a radio show. That's what it was. It was the guy doing the Count voice.
Welcome to WVVN.
Yeah.
Broadcasting out from your radio from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
It was something like
now
that.
Listen to The Strokes.
Exactly. It was along that line. That's right. He would introduce
but
segments.
wait, there's more.
There'd be like Sesame Street songs and stuff that he was introducing and all that. And I would sit and listen to that album, and I would sit down and pretend I had a microphone. I was the Count, and I just memorized that album, and I would sit there and recite and just mimic, lip sync, the Count doing that radio show. So that was my first taste of being on the radio. Little did I know.
Look at that. Yeah, that it would be a career for you.
A global-wide podcast. Exactly right. Even on my bedroom door, Nick, I had a little sign like little Brian's room, whatever, and I had a Count that I cut from a Sesame Street magazine stuck in that sign. So all the way back, it was like one of my favorite Muppets was, the Count was on my little bedroom door as a child. Many years ago. So there you go. A little homage to the Count.
Do not enter. Little Brian will be done beating off in 3 whole minutes.
Thank you. No, but the real
one stroke, 2 stroke, 3 stroke, and I'm done.
That's it. That's probably about right. That's pretty accurate. No, but when the real actor passed away a few years ago that played the original Count, I remember pausing for a second there, like, man, that hit me a little bit, just thinking about all the great childhood memories of listening to that guy do that character. So yeah, definitely near and dear to my heart, Nick. So anyway,
Nice.
Another portrayal of Dracula, I mentioned it kind of already, but Gary Oldman, his portrayal of Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Man, I remember when I first watched that movie, I was like, man, this is so strange and weird. I really didn't get into it originally, but every time I've watched that movie since, I'm like, I have a greater and greater appreciation of the entire movie. Keanu Reeves is great. It's just the visuals are fantastic. But Gary Oldman is so good in that role as Dracula. I went back and watched it, I think last season. It's out there. I mean, you can find it obviously on streaming. But if you haven't watched that movie in a while, take some time for that this holiday season to watch that Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's, like I said, it's definitely in line with the book. Super, super creepy and just a different level of horror with that. So just a lot of great performances. So yeah, go check him out. But Gary Oldman was fantastic. Dracula.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
We don't have to stick with just vampires if you guys don't. If you want, you can move it around. Keep talking about vampires themselves if you want to. If you have a movie, just whatever you want to talk about necessarily. You don't have to feel pressure to stay in the context of just vampires if you don't want to. Just whatever you want to do.
Well, I got one that's going to encompass a bunch of different vampires because a lot of them were portrayed in it. Because you can't pick one. But What We Do in the Shadows, definitely needs the recognition because
I've heard of that. That's the FX show, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a movie too originally,
right? But it's really funny, well written. Just it is goofy humor. I think Taika Waititi is a vampire in it. There's the one episode where they have the vampire council, where I think Mark Hamill is a vampire. They have some like old school people from like old vampire shows, movies and stuff, but like a bunch of celebrities. What's her name? She plays like in Doctor Strange. She plays the original wise one or whatever, the bald one.
Oh yes, okay.
Oh.
But she plays like the big, ultimate, vampire of all of them, and it's just such a good show. I mean, so funny.
I think the movie was, I think it was Taika Waititi. That was his first movie, I believe.
I believe so.
Movie. Yeah. So the whole concept, like you say, is very interesting. It's like a documentary of somebody filming vampires just in living in modern times. The concept is it's very, very good. I agree with you.
And they're fumbling and dopey and
there's people around, Nick, that just they're dying to become a vampire, so they're just like hanging out, like, hey, you got to convert me to be immortal, or what's going on here? And it's pretty good. It's definitely worth a watch for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I've heard good things about it.
Yeah. I only watched it. It was one of those where it was, I think it was on Hulu at the time or something like that. But it was like, I woke up just shitting my pants one night. You ever get to wake up with the bubble guts and you're just unloading in the toilet, right? Where like your legs shake and you're just, you're kind of crying and stuff. So
I feel like I'm there with you. It's very descriptive. Yeah.
Thank you. And because you don't want to get too far away from the toilet. So I sat downstairs at like 3 a.m. I stayed up for the rest of the night binge watching that show. Pausing to poop, but still, I binge watched that show in like one night. It was awesome.
Eventually, I was so tied up, I was like, I'm just shitting in the chair. It's just what we're just going to shit in the chair.
That's just what's going to happen now.
Yep. If you two would like a ringing endorsement of your business or product, just like that one, contact convincingidiots@gmail.com.
That shit your pants good. You don't even care.
All right, Nick. Any other movies, vampires, shows? Shit stories you want to mention? Anything like that?
Oh well, shit. Yeah. Oh well. No, I actually started brushing up on some. I was like, I gotta think of some more vampire. Just my list wasn't very long, and upon researching, different vampires in pop culture and TVs and movies, I discovered how little of these things I've actually ever seen. I know of them. I know of Buffy. Never watched it, or your Nosferatu's, or what. I've just never seen any of this stuff. So unless you want me to start digging into Twilight characters, I don't know.
But
I'm
you've
about out.
watched you haven't watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but you have watched Twilight.
I have. I've seen the first two movies. The second one was not great, but it was definitely better than the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. Girlfriends, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's just it was not my
Are
choosing.
you asking to be my girlfriend? Was that what you said? I did my head.
Well, you as the Buffy fan, I don't know how that would work. I don't know which one of us would be the girl in the scenario. But
Brian, we need a boyfriend.
will you be our boyfriend?
All right. So one of my favorite vampire products, anything is the movie Interview with a Vampire back in '94 with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. It's fantastic. I know we talked about this on prior episodes, I think, but I remember at the time people were flipping out because Tom Cruise, no way in the world could he play a good Lestat. It's such a
he was perfect.
He was great.
Mm-hmm.
He was great, and then the young girl was played Mary Jane Watts.
Dunst, Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst.
Fantastic.
Which, if you go back now and look
Antonio
at it,
Banderas,
she's like
he was great
like
too.
11 or 12, and
young.
damn near making out with Brad Pitt. It's creepy if you go back and look at it, but in the book, she's younger than that.
Yeah.
It's creepier to read than what they were able to or allowed to put on the screen.
Yeah, definitely romanticized the whole being a vampire thing. That movie. So I'll ask that question a little bit later here, but yeah, just fantastic. If you've never seen it, watch it. If you want to watch the TV show, it'd be a good opportunity to watch the original movie to tie into the TV series, I'm sure. But if you're just a remote vampire fan at all, definitely go check out Interview with a Vampire. You definitely find it out there on streaming and everything else. Can't believe it's back in '94 already.
Yeah, 1994.
So, yeah, crazy.
I'm going to go with True Blood on HBO.
Okay.
And some of the there's two particular ones that I would put up. Eric Northman, Alexander Skarsgård.
Okay.
We talked about I don't know if that's on, if we did that offline or
offline.
Okay, but we talked about Alexander Skarsgård. Yeah, I don't think we were back into the show at that point. But
he's going to be the new. They're remaking Nosferatu, so he's going to play Nosferatu.
His younger brother, will be doing Nosferatu.
There you go.
Eric Northman, the character Eric Northman on True Blood was done by Alexander Skarsgård, who also did the Norseman or Northman. Yeah. The whatever
movie I talked about,
right?
Yeah,
but his name was Northman in the show.
Okay.
And then Jessica Hamby on True Blood, also portrayed by Deborah Ann Woll. Now, if you don't know who Deborah Ann Woll is, do yourself a favor and Google that shit. She is. She was in if you watch the CW or whatever of the Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
Either of you to watch that. She's she's the redhead in that
CW version of Daredevil. I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, where do you think Charlie Cox came from?
I thought that was a Netflix Daredevil. That was originally
no, CW. It got moved over to Netflix.
I see.
But it was originally CW.
Okay.
It's my understanding. But yeah, she is. Yeah, do yourself a favor and Google Deborah Ann Woll.
Okay.
And she was a vampire, like a teenage vampire, and she was definitely, if you're gonna get bit by somebody, she's a pretty good choice.
Okay. Very good. Just a couple quick ones. Have you ever 30 Days of Night in 2007? So
Yeah, that's
I
a pretty good
remember it.
movie.
I didn't see it, but I remember like trailers and stuff.
yeah, concept very interesting. So it takes place in a small town in Alaska where it's night for 30 days. So vampires happen to be infiltrating the town. Obviously, they can't survive in the daylight, but since it's night for so many days, they just are able to wreak havoc. Wreak havoc. Yes, live for many. Yeah, so it's very intense, very cool movie. Different, concept.
It definitely
so-
has the John Carpenter's Thing feel to it.
Yeah, very frightening. Yeah, the whole thing is, obviously in many vampire movies, you get a break when the sunlight comes up. People,
Right.
the vampire has to go back into his coffin, but this obviously no. It's just the vampires continue on. Fright Night. I remember this back in high school, 1985. Now they've remade it in
Right.
like 2007 or 2011 or something like that. But the original Fright Night back in '85 had the great Roddy McDowall starred in that. Roddy McDowall, you might remember, was Cornelius in the original Planet of the Apes movie. Great actor, but he was, I think, the TV show host that helped the neighbor kid go after Count Dracula. Both versions are pretty good, frankly. But just a fun movie. Just basically, Dracula happens to live next door to this teenage kid, and he discovers who he is, and he recruits a local TV horror host who's playing a vampire hunter on television. So the kid thinks, well, the guy must know a lot about vampires, kind of recruits him, and they actually go after the real Count Dracula, and it's a lot of fun and goofiness and horror, everything kind of blended in there. So a lot of fun.
Okay.
Fright Night '85. Do you need to have any other ones?
From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's a good one.
Quentin Tarantino,
Clooney.
George Clooney, Salma Hayek. There's nudity, vampires, a lot of blood. It was fun.
There you go. Speaking of which, Blade, one of my favorites.
Oh,
also.
yeah.
1998, Wesley Snipes, and I know we've mentioned Blade in several episodes prior. And that was one of the first big Marvel property was Blade to hit the big
I never
screen.
knew that was a Marvel
yes.
thing. Yeah.
And if that, again, as we said before, if that movie would not have taken off and become such a hit, you might not have seen Spider-Man back then,
right?
And the rebirth of the entire Marvel universe. And of course, Blade is being rebooted into the Marvel universe. He made a small cameo, just his voice, at the end of Doctor Strange. I think it was Doctor Strange or the Eternals. Not the Eternals. Was it the Eternals? You heard his voice at the end. Right. So, Blade, great concept. Is basically a guy was born. His mom was bitten by a vampire, and she was pregnant with him. She died at birth. He became a kind of a hybrid, and decides to take vengeance out on vampires and hunts them down. Interesting concept, interesting character, and Wesley Snipes was so good in that movie.
Yeah,
back then.
Yeah. Is Morbius is kind of a vampire character too, isn't he?
Yes, he was.
I still have never seen that movie, but
me neither.
I have never.
Nor did the majority of everybody else.
Everything I hear is that like it either wasn't good or just like lack of seeing it, like nobody saw it.
Yeah, just shit the bed.
Yeah. So just a quick question for you guys. I know it's late. We got to wrap up and get to sleep here soon. But all these movies about vampires, did you ever fantasize about becoming a vampire? Does the thought of that be living eternally? But again, you have to obviously kill to survive.
Sure.
But does all these movies kind of romanticize the thought of becoming a vampire? Is that ever appealed to you in real life, or no? It's just a weird thing. I had never thought about it, or what do you think about that? Dean, you ever think about that?
When I was younger, before I got to living more, I thought, yeah, that would be cool. You live forever. You're all cool and vampire-like, and then you live fucking 30 more years, and you're like, oh, fuck, no, this ain't cool. I don't want to live forever. I barely fucking want to live now. So, yeah. So now, not appealing. Then, sure, it was neat.
Okay. Nick, what do you think?
I think it'd be a horrible thing. Like it is one of those things, and it's that like people are like, oh, you get to be immortal and do all this and whatever. But like, it would be all like you'd see like everybody you ever care about that wasn't a vampire like around you die, and like no,
Right.
it'd be fun. And the vampire thing was never really like. So it's kind of funny because like vampires weren't really a thing for a long time there until like the teenage vampire thing hit real big. And it was the Twilights and the Vampire Diaries and so like
Boys in the 80s, yep.
When I think like vampire shit, like it's kind of like that kind of stuff. Like it's a weird like I don't know.
I think that's a generational thing, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say like vampires aren't like
because we don't have the same memory of vampires that you do.
Yeah, it's this weird like relationship. Like, who to be with a vampire? Like this. I don't know. It's I don't like a vampire thing doesn't sound I don't know. I think I just have like a different viewpoint of what vampire because in pop culture for the last like God, what 15 years, 20 years or whatever, that's kind of been like what like vampires like popular, in a popular sense have been. It's just kind of weird. But no, to actually be a vampire, I think like would just be kind of like depressing because you can't get attached to anyone. Yeah, it really would. I mean, at the same time, I guess it would and it wouldn't. Like emotionally, yes, but I mean, like as a vampire, though, also is my understanding and everything is that like by being immortal, you don't feel yourself getting older or like that you're sore now when you weren't 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like you're immortal and you feel amazing and you're.
Still just mentally waking up, going, ugh. I'm still doing this.
Yeah. But you could kill yourself very easily too
that's
as
true.
a vampire.
That's true.
Jump out in the sun.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah. Or go to the butcher shop and get a steak.
That's right. Yeah, I like I said earlier, it's the whole Interview with a Vampire movie definitely just made you think about that. In that movie, you certainly saw those guys live through different eras, and they saw the invention
that would be
of
the cool part.
Technology.
Is like to see the history.
Yeah, and the scene where Brad Pitt's sitting in the movie theater and they see the sun rising on screen. It's like wow, it's just that all that's very interesting. But like you said, the other side of it, you got to kill people to survive, and for them, it's just a thing to survive.
Well, for a while, Louis killed rats.
Right, because he had the sensitivity and this and that and the other. So. Yeah, and this is a weird time to reveal on this show, guys. But no, I'm not actually a vampire. So
what?
Yeah.
Plot twist. Didn't see that one coming. Did you?
It would explain your pasty white skin and you still being alive at 180 years old.
That's right. That's right. We're going to talk more about that on our two-year anniversary episode, guys, coming up here in a couple weeks here. So we'll be doing this for 2 years already. Time flies when we're having sort of fun.
When we're sitting in silence over Dean jokes.
That's right. Yeah, for two years later. Yeah. Yeah, and one thing about vampires, though, too, guys. I mean, obviously, one thing that could kill them, we mentioned already, is sunlight, right? Another thing that kills a vampire is what? What else kills a vampire? Do you know?
The heart.
Mediocre product reads.
Well, the vampires might have been dead a long time ago. So
garlic.
Yes, a wooden garlic. Yeah, but a wooden stake through the heart.
No, back to the. Don't keep naming things. You had it. Just
that's all right. No, you're fine. You're fine. A wooden stake through the heart.
Jackal.
And who might craft such a stake to kill a vampire with other fine woodworking products is one of our sponsors, Belmark Amazon store. Check them out. They're known for not crafting the steaks necessarily. Maybe they do. I mean, this is going to be a new product on the store that you'll see here very soon for the Halloween season. Steak to kill a vampire, but they specialize in countertop compost bins, floating nightstands, and floating liquor cabinets. Fine woodworking products. Go check them out.
Just like
Everything delivered through the
vampires
Amazon.
float.
That's right.
Yeah. Or perhaps a floating coffin for your dead. If you are a
Very
vampire.
possible. Check out the store. Maybe it's on there. So find them on Amazon, Bellmark, BELLEMARK, Amazon store. And speaking of the heart to drive the steak into, I want you to go check out our final sponsor of the show, Golden Heart Tattoos. Find their website at goldenhearttattoos.com or give them a call at 234-706-2982. Maybe get yourself a tattoo of a vampire. Maybe Bram Stoker's vampire. Maybe me as the Podlander vampire or something like that. I don't know.
Count Chocula, whatever. Yeah.
That'd be a great tattoo, Count Chocula. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm actually, not many people know this, but I have an appointment with Scott to get it's going to be my whole chest. It's Brian dressed as Count Chocula.
I like that.
That would be phenomenal. I want that also now.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. That's
it's coming, and so am I.
That's right. That tattoo will not suck. Ha, ha, ha. Anyway. All right. Well, guys, before the sun comes up and we all turn to dust, I think it's time to wrap up another episode of Convincing Idiots. Nick, I don't know. You do what you want to do. Outro is the count. Sounds great to me, unless you have another idea. Whatever you want to do, sir. Whatever's take us out.
Brian,
please.
that sounds phenomenal. Eternally phenomenal. So, what else sounds phenomenal? Well, that would be for you to transform into your bat form and fly on over to your computer. From there, you will simply type in Convincing Idiots Linktree, LINKTREE, and there you will find links to all of our social media accounts. Please rate, review, subscribe, like, and all of these things. You can also find this information and so much more on our website, that is convincingidiots.wordpress.com. So, for another episode of Convincing Idiots, I am idiot number 1, Millennial Nick.
And I am idiot number 2, Zennial Dean.
And I am idiot number 3, Gen X Brian.
Have we convinced you to get together with your friends and do some sucking today?
I sure hope so.
That's why I'm here.
Everybody, Gen X Brian with Millennial Nick and Zennial Dean. We need more people besides Nick's mom watching us. Give us a like and subscribe.